For municipal courses and public courses like Juniper, the pandemic's golf boom has been a hole-in-one. The Beavers still wanted to play spoiler for Oregon, though. Let's head to Eugene, where we got a color rush game here. Beaver orange versus Duck green. Early first quarter action here. The 11th ranked Ducks lining up to go for it on 4th and 1. Travis Dye capitalizes on the do or die moment. Indoor recreation spaces larger than 500 feet can have up to 6 people inside. Any spaces smaller are limited to just one-on-one services. Keep in mind, this team hasn't played in nearly 500 days since they're accustomed to playing in the fall. This new Fast Tracks pass allows anybody on the day that they purchase it to skip the regular lines on some of the lifts here at Mount Baptist. We have 4 games for you tonight, and let me tell you, Noah, there were some good ones. Absolutely. Let's start in West Bend now as the Summit Storm at 3-1 and on top of the Mountain Valley Conference hosts fellow one-loss pro South Salem. Let's say this bucket represents about 1,000 golf balls. It would take a tour pro 3 of these buckets to make a hole-in-one. So Summit Girls Cross Country just won its 13th consecutive state title. Lee Kennedy Swan is no stranger to the spotlight. She just finished a distinguished college career that ended with a national championship at Ole Miss. Last year, Ashley Hills decided to take up a membership at Juniper Golf Course.
I had some friends and we were looking around for somewhere to play and a different challenge on a golf course.
The sisters retiree was not alone in turning to golf.
I think the COVID thing as well, it was one of the few things that people could do.
In 2020, the Redmond track saw its membership increase from 287 to more than 370, a record, says General Manager Rob Malone.
We didn't expect as much of an uptick, and I think the beauty of it is it brought people back to the game who had left it, and then also brought some in that had either had contemplated or never thought about playing golf.
That reflects the national trend of a golf boom last year. The National Golf Foundation says there were 60 million more rounds played in 2020 than in 2019. Rounds at Juniper went from 32,000 to 36,000. For municipal courses and public courses like Juniper, the pandemic's golf boom has been a hole-in-one. And as the only municipal golf course in Deschutes County, the growth is key for Juniper.
From a financial perspective, it certainly puts us in a position that we've not been in before.
Malone says he expects to do even more rounds this year, and Ashley Hills will probably help that.
Yeah. I can never get bored with it. I go out, every time you go out is different, every shot is different.
He'll keep on practicing. In Redmond.
Very good, that one.
Jack Hirsh, News Channel 21.
Thank you for flying DMK Airlines. I hope you had a nice flight this afternoon. We look forward to welcoming you to Bend.
This is how most of David McClay Kids' projects begin.
Ground speed is almost 200 miles an hour.
And end. Flying his own Cirrus SR-22 across the western U.S. to design golf courses.
I groused around saying how challenging it was to get anywhere out of Bend if you wanted to just hop, a few hundred miles. So one of my friends said, go learn how to be a pilot.
After one flying lesson, he was hooked. Now it's the backbone of his business.
And I can do more in a week with this than I could in a month without it.
Flying out of Bend, Bandon Dunes on the southern Oregon coast, his first major design is just a 45-minute flight away. When he was given the project at just 26 in the mid-90s, he had no idea it would become the mecca it did.
Literally hundreds of thousands, maybe even into the millions of people have visited the South Oregon coast, and they all come away with the same feeling, how beautiful it is.
At Bandon, he says he sought to capture the natural beauty of the property instead of manufacturing it. The beauty was put on a national stage last year when Bandon hosted the U.S. Amateur. And it's on display at his Central Oregon design, Tethero. One thing you tried to do here was create sort of a high desert interpretation of the Scottish links, right?
As close as you could get to a Scottish links experience, I think this is it.
But there's a major difference between Bend and Bandon or Scotland.
What drew me to Central Oregon was the lack of rain.
He first came to the region in 2001 and fell in love.
I always had it in my head, if I could figure out a way to actually live here, and then in 2006 I was asked to come and design Tethero, and I used that as an excuse to come and live here, and I've been here ever since.
At his office in the middle of Northwest Crossing, The walls are covered in plans,
So this is a topographical heat map.
photos,
We're surrounded with pictures of golf courses we finished.
memorabilia, and maybe the most realistic CGI
Everything.
renderings you've ever seen.
None of it is, it's not a drone flight.
And with Bandon Dunes announcing plans for a 6th and maybe final course, there's more coming.
I'm the golf course designer for that course.
There's a long way to go before the course becomes a reality, but
It would make for a perfect story. You know, I was the one that built the very first golf course at Bandon, and maybe I get to be the one that builds the very last golf course at Bandon.
MCLAY Kid tells me the 6th and final golf course potentially at Bandon, for now known as New River Dunes, is still years away. But he's seen the property, and while the design is not finished, he's excited for the opportunity.